Hello and welcome to Why on Earth Homeschool. My name is Rebecca Devitt and I'm a homeschool graduate. Today we're going to be giving you some insights into homeschooling as we interview Hannah. Thanks for coming in, Hannah.
No worries, Beck.
Hannah, why did your parents decide to homeschool you?
There are a number of reasons why my parents decided to homeschool me. One of them was they saw the curriculum in Western Australia was changing at the time and they didn't think it was going to be, sufficient for what they wanted us to get out of schooling as children. Another reason was some of us were getting bullied in school, and also my younger sisters weren't concentrating because they were finishing work early and mucking up in class, so yeah, that's why.
Okay. So how many years did you homeschool for, Hannah?
In total, I homeschooled for 2 years in Year 9 and Year 10.
Okay. And so you were, Year 9 and 10 and Year 11 and 12 you went back to school?
Yes, I did.
Okay. Hannah, did you worry about not having friends when you were going to homeschool? Because obviously you've been in school for quite a long time. How did you overcome that if you could?
I think, the interesting thing was I didn't really have many friends I'd call close friends at school. So actually coming out of school I found was a good thing because I didn't feel the pressure to make friends in class. There was a bit of worry that I would become a bit of loner, but I was still involved in church activities like youth group and playing soccer. So I think, those friendships changed in a good way.
So, would you say, so in a good way, do you mean you became more socially connected, or?
Yeah, I'd say I became more socially connected because they weren't, people that I had to compete with academically, and more we could just enjoy the social time we had with each other.
Okay. So you felt a bit of a pressure to compete academically then?
Yeah.
Okay. Is that just with marks, or?
Yeah, there was a bit of with marks. I think as well at the time I just had high expectations, and when you're in front of people and you don't meet those expectations, you sort of want to keep your front up, but then also, how do you keep your front up when inside you're like, this is not great?
Yeah. Did your relationship with your family change when you started homeschooling?
Yeah, it did actually. My dad began to take more of a lead as the spiritual head of our household, which was really encouraging. We'd get up each morning and he'd try to read the Bible with us and pray with us, so we'd go through Psalms or Proverbs. And also, at the time I'd had anger issues and would take it out on my younger sisters. When I started homeschooling, that completely stopped. So I think my relationship with my family was definitely strengthened, even though we were spending more time together, but also just the relationship between all the family members as a whole.
Okay. Did your relationship with your family, was it just you who you found that it changed for, or did your sisters also change?
I don't know if I could quite speak for my sisters, but I'd say it changed for them as well. Because I think because I was relating to them differently, I felt that they found it easier to relate to me than me to them. So I think that, helped overall for them, as in, getting along better with me.
Do you mind me asking about your anger issues?
No, that's fine. So at the time when I started going through the age of about 12, 13, my dad was working some pretty stressful jobs, and often he'd come home just not in a great mood because the people he worked with or the work he was doing. And as someone going into teenage years, I picked that up. So if I'd come home from school and things hadn't gone well for me, I'd just pick up the behaviour I'd watched my father do at the time, and that resulted in things like holes in walls.
Oh wow. Like fists through walls?
No, it was more like slamming doors open.
Oh wow.
And I didn't do anything too drastic, but I think at the time it was just uncomfortable that quite often inside I'd just be quite emotionally worked up. So my responses to people were, especially my family, were quite ungracious.
Okay, yeah, wow. What do you think the best thing about homeschooling is?
I'd say the best thing about homeschooling is that you're really able to learn where your child's at. Like our parents learned where each of us 4 children were at, and they were really able to cater learning to what we were interested in, especially as my older sister and I were in high school. We were able to do subjects that otherwise we probably wouldn't have had the chance to do in school. And also our learning was a lot more efficient because we were learning stuff that we didn't know rather than repeating things that we might have known or trying to learn things that were too advanced for us.
What's the best thing about school?
Oh, that's a big one. I'd say the best thing about school is the social aspect. Whether or not, I guess, the children get into it, the fact is that they have an opportunity to learn from teachers who are essentially mentors, but also as a child you're generally more friendly and willing to have all these social interactions. So it's just an opportunity to learn and grow with people around you because you spend so much time with doing activities with them.
When you began homeschooling, Hannah, were you worried about your academic performance changing?
In a little bit. I think the most worrying thing was that if I didn't have the competition I wouldn't work as hard. But the more I got into homeschooling, the more I realised that really didn't matter because, yeah, it didn't really hinder me, I don't think, from keeping up the academic pace.
What were the pros of homeschooling in your opinion?
The first one that comes to mind, which probably might not be the best one, but because I enjoyed my sleep-ins, I was able to start work, like my schoolwork, when I woke up. But also, if I was able to get it done, I'd have the afternoon to do things. So while I was homeschooling, I actually learned to ride a unicycle. So that was one of the big pros for me. I had just had more time in the afternoons to do that.
Yeah, okay, wow. That's pretty funny. Unicycling, there you are, folks. Homeschooling for unicycling. What about the cons of homeschooling? What are the cons?
One of the cons was, I guess it's a concern that every, parent would have when they homeschool is if they aren't able to teach you something or they don't quite have the understanding of an area, how do they teach that to you? Another one was...
Did your parents struggle with that?
My parents didn't, but also the more we did homeschooling, Mum would find people who were better at areas like English, which Mum wasn't great at. So, and my parents also had connections with the teachers in the old school we went to, so that was really helpful.
And is that, so you went back for years 11 and years 12, is that the reason your parents sent you back?
It was more my choice, so as I got towards the end of year 10, I expressed the desire to go back into year 11 and 12, mainly because I just wanted the most straightforward way to do university pathway, and yeah, they were willing to let me do that.
Yeah, okay. How has homeschooling shaped you as a person?
Homeschooling shaped me in a lot of ways. One of them is it's helped with self-motivation and discipline, because with homeschooling you don't necessarily have a teacher over your shoulder all the time watching you, telling you what to do. And because my parents had 4 children to watch over, we really had to learn to be motivated and get our work done, by the deadlines. Without that. As well, I think coming out of schooling, it enabled me to start social relationships again. So where I was really struggling and wasn't necessarily, the friendliest person, I think it really helped me to, have a desire to have friendships again.
Press the reset button.
Yeah, definitely.
And so as you went back into year 11 and year 12, did you find that maybe that was good for your socialization?
Yeah, definitely. So I found, I had a desire to make friendships, and it was, I guess it was just more enjoyable hanging out and spending time with people than what I'd found before when I was in school, before I did homeschooling.
Thanks for joining us on Why on Earth Homeschool, Hannah.
You're welcome.
I'm sure the folks would be really interested to hear your story.
Well, thank you very much, Beck.
No worries. If you're interested in these topics, please subscribe to the video. Otherwise, go to my website at www.whyonearthhomeschool.com. Thanks for listening.